Apple and Amazon delivered earnings after the close of regular trading. Apple shares this morning, they're down 1%. And Amazon shares right now 6% higher in pre-market trading. Let's break it down for you now with Gene Munster, managing partner at Deepwater Asset Management. Gene, good morning. Thanks for being with us this morning.
Thank you.
Hey, for Apple, what are the immediate pressure points that investors are looking at?
You nailed it. The first is that the guidance for the December quarter was a little bit muted. They basically guided to around 5 to 6% year-over-year growth. The street was at 6%. And I think what it speaks to is this acceleration around Apple Intelligence still is not impacting the business. We're not seeing it in the December quarter. I'm a believer that these tools, adding AI to 20% of the world's population, is going to have a meaningful impact on iPhone growth, but we're just not seeing it in the December guidance. And part of the reason is that, of course, these features really don't have the substance that they will have fast forwarding to the March quarter. They're pretty subtle, the improvements in your phone right now with AI, but they will improve. There's going to be another update in December, and then a couple other significant ones in the months of February and March. And so I think the big picture here, John, is that for optimistic investors in Apple, the kind of this liftoff of growth isn't going to happen in the December quarter, but still the setup is positive that we're going to see that acceleration into next year. And I just want to put one final point on this. What is acceleration and growth is that the street's at 5% iPhone growth for this year, for fiscal 25, which just kicked off. I think it's going to be closer to 10%.
What are the features, and are they going to resonate with customers? If I'm upgrading, do I have to have this?
I think today the answer is no. I think that most people who have done the beta, present company included, find the features nice, but not like must-have. But I think they will be must-have within the next 6 months. And just to kind of frame in a couple of them, they have the built-in writing tools that many of you use with GPT, but that's within text messages and email. They have a photo editing app that uses artificial intelligence. They also have, this is available today, they have the ability to essentially read your email and notify which ones are most important. And I've found that feature particularly helpful, especially with spam and trying to sift through all of that. But as we fast forward into next year, essentially you get into what is referred to as agentic AI, which is the ability for third-party developers to build smart apps that run on your phone. So think of one example could be an app that helps to figure out if you have a dispute with your cable company, for example, and would be able to reach out to the cable company and actually get any work that's done on a phone or a computer, can automate that. And that's when things really start getting exciting and these features become must-have, is when agentic AI kicks in.
It sounds like you're saying the rollout is a little too slow for your taste.
Well, it's slow. I would say that. It's what they had projected, but from my perspective, I can't wait. I can't wait for these features. I mean, this is something that I think is going to have a profound impact on how we use our devices. And so it's slow, it's as expected, and I think this is going to be a case where Apple investors just need to be patient. I think this acceleration ultimately is going to be coming.
Real quick, just finally on Apple, you believe in a super cycle for Apple. Is that still on track?
It is. I mentioned that kind of 10% growth. I think the street's at 5% over the next year, but in 2026, so investors will be quickly thinking about this. I think that they can grow at 15 to 20%, and the street's at 7%. So I think you really get to a year and a half, 2 years of elevated growth, which I believe is going to be positive for shares.
What is standing out for Amazon this morning for you? There was two factors that they're driving the stock higher. The first is the
the operating income guidance for the December quarter. Typically, they guide down versus the street. They did something rare here, is they actually guided up slightly versus the street for December, and so the profitability piece is getting better for Amazon. So that was kind of the first leg up. The stock was up around 3% on that news, and then it kind of moved another 3% higher following a comment on the earnings call where they said that AWS, they were constrained. Essentially, they could have done more, had more growth if they had better capacity. It was up 19%. And they basically said that that growth is going to continue to accelerate, and they're going to be able to do that more profitably. And so I think those were the two factors that drove Amazon shares higher.
The cost cutting there, that's, I guess, an effort to reallocate. It's not just standard cost cutting. They're reallocating resources, right?
They are. They've been pulling away from things like Alexa more recently, and a lot of these devices, these different hardware devices that probably many of your listeners have never even knew that Amazon was doing, but they've canceled those projects and are kind of reallocating them, of course, to things related to anything AI. AWS is a big factor there. Also, more automation tools that improve profitability. And last is better tools for consumers to understand or get better shopping tools. So this Rufus feature that they rolled out a few months ago, they're continuing to invest in that.
20 seconds. Impressions of Microsoft. It fell 6%.
Surprised at that. I think bottom line is that Microsoft, I think, needs to inspire investors that they can have some measurable acceleration in revenue growth, not just keeping it flat at 14%. They failed to do that, and I think that that's what's up for them for the next 3 months, is to convince investors.
Gene, always a pleasure. Thanks very much for doing this morning. Gene Munster, Managing Partner at Deepwater Asset Management.